Hello, hello, hello. VCL Open Qualifiers #1 is back. We're at map number 3. We've had a banger of a matchup so far. The Messiah, so it seems, did pretty well map number 1. A slow start for 2 marks. But now that we're at the map number 3, I've heard that Lotus could be a banger.
I think Lotus is going to be a banger 100%, but we're getting too ahead of ourselves there because I need to talk a little bit about Breeze. Coming into this map, I mean, you take a look at the statistics. Leet did not win once on this map, and they were playing something a little bit unconventional in their previous match history. And so the Glazers, they come into this, they're like, you know what? This is going to be an easy dub. Let's just advance our way and secure our spot into Challengers. Yet Leet, they say not today. Yeah. Very decisive attacking half coming in for them. I was extremely impressed with how things were going on that front. But even too on the defense, they were surprisingly left and right. Instead of, hey, let's play together and move in, which is kind of what we expected from this squad, they were splitting up, taking up so many weird nooks and crannies all over the map to kind of catch their enemies off guard.
See, I'm glad you mentioned about the nooks and crannies because watching the mini-map throughout the majority of map number 2, it really felt like there was a bunch of solo adventures happening, whether it be car, whether it be precision that we see in the Zippo replay here. It really did feel like it was more so of a cat and mouse hunt down game rather than your traditional game of Valorant. I mean, the objective of course was there, but even in the halls, right, newly added to Breeze, we're seeing a lot of individual 1v1s that back in the olden days of Breeze would be a little inconsequential, really did have a marking impact this time around.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, take a look at this. It's so weird because the Glazers, they felt so confident kind of coming into this one. And then it was just this unconventional strategy positioning really from Leet that was able to take them across the finish line with a pretty dominant finish to 13-8, Keg.
It's weird, right? Because we're seeing Breeze at its biggest scope since it's been reworked in such a long time. And it really feels like after watching Breeze yesterday and into today, that Breeze is like the most confidence map in the game right now. Either you do really, really good and you continue to have that snowball, or you could do well in the beginning, but if you start getting rounds up against you, there's like this effect where the entire team starts to kind of recoil back a little bit and shrink into that shell. So hopefully we don't get to see that on Lotus. I do want to say that there's probably going to be more rotate values, even though Lotus itself has changed, that if it's going to be a defender-sided match again, I do think this will go to the limit.
Yeah, and on top of that too, like, one of the biggest conversations coming out of the last map as well is Son of Car. I mean, listen, chatters, we've been paying attention. We know what's going on here.
Yeah. Look, I'm gonna be honest with you. I was reading chat a lot before coming into this at the last second. So, I mean, look, Car performed beautifully on Icebox. I watched it too. A little behind the scenes knowledge, our graphics operator is like 10 feet in front of me right now in the same room. I heard her just gasp as loud as she possibly could, and I'm like, oh no, something's about to happen. And what do you know? Chamber Ace, Son of Car, unbelievable.
And one of the things too that I want to highlight beyond just Car not turning it up as much in this map is Yeji and Pyro really stepped things up here. And on the flip side, I mean, Riku was kind of the anchor, the anti-Car, if you will. Yeah. And yet we're seeing Zachary just play that jet. I was so impressed with some of that attacking that we saw from Zach do. When the squad was nice and coordinated, Zach was so good on the entry. And on top of that too, I mean, Ange just going to the top with the MVP there. I think a lot of that Viper utility was so key in trying to slow down Leet, but unfortunately it just didn't quite work out. And ultimately, like, the Glazers, it is their map loss, and that's why we're seeing this map number 3. But given the fact that there is only one spot remaining, Keg, I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Glazers, they need that redemption match from yesterday. They came so close yet so far against YFP, and they were just inches away from qualifying in the upper bracket. This is their chance. They have a second chance, and almost no other team can say that they fought for qualification. Not once, but twice over. This has to be their shot. And it's not like it's the end of the world if they don't win it. There is still another Open Qualifiers, but why go through all that complication when you could possibly win it now with one single map left?
I was about to say, just imagine, like, you get all the way to the finish line and then you just have to backpedal a little bit. Like, that's got to be a feels bad, man. So you know that the Glazers want this next one. And as we do load into a Lotus, we're seeing the exact same composition that we saw in the last series coming out from Leet, deciding to go with an Astra on this map, which is a little bit more unconventional. While the Glazers, they actually are pretty much mimicking this entire thing, except bringing in the Gecko over the Fade. And King, I don't know about you, but I kind of like the Gecko pick a bit more.
Yeah, I mean, Gecko is really interesting on Lotus because it has such a wide range with the Dizzy that you can find information similar to what Sky was able to accomplish, but unlike modern day Sky now, the Dizzy does replenish its flash ability after a while. But I want to focus a little bit more on Leet's agent selection right now because you have the Raze, you have your Fade, you have your Astra. That is trap style city on this map. And with a lot of teams focusing on util dumps early on A main, when we see Leet swap sides, they're going to make sure that A is impossible to have it be attacked against themselves. But we'll have to wait a little bit for that here. The Glazers, I'm really excited for this, Marks.
I'm excited too. I mean, I got to watch Leet on their attack and it looked phenomenal. Not this slow style that you would really expect, but it just is an overwhelming presence. And hopefully we're going to be seeing Carr back in full form as the entry's already underway.
Oh, son of Carr making a statement right away, barely through the Nebula. Riku falls. The Gecko, you say, an important statement on a map like Lotus. Not to be seen just yet. Yeji tries to do the same, but it's the son of Carr diff. He's good for 2 and eventually falls with the hands of precision. But it's not going to end just yet. Pyro, well, maybe I spoke too soon, and the Glazers absolutely destroyed the back of B site.
And this is like the unconventional strats that I talk about. I mean, obviously the core of everyone sticking together and running in onto site is like what you would expect. But what you wouldn't expect is as soon as that first kill comes through for Carr, they immediately try and hightail it through the back of B and make their way over to C and steamroll their opponents. But this time around, I mean, the Glazers, you know, they demand a certain level of respect, and they're not going to just let you run into them and let it go unpunished completely. So excellent stuff from the Glazers to secure that pistol round as they buy up into this next.
Oh, look, the ferociousness just keeps continuing on. There's no breathing room at all in the first 2 rounds of this matchup. Nebula goes through. On top of that, though, we do get to see the Gecko Molly. No return, however. Zachary off screen. Memoji falls, and, well, it's going to continue on forwards. Remember what I said, those trap-style plays for Leet's soon-to-be defense. Super strong here. Not the same for the Glazers, though. Lee has a chance to push on forwards. They have tree control soon enough. Zachary does have utility to stop it just a little bit. Pyro falls. That means both controllers now underway for Elite. They cannot use that to push forwards. At best, they have information and firepower. But Zachary has something else to say instead. The Ares roars, the god itself, and Yeji soon to follow up, and the Glazers are looking so dominant.
Yeah, I mean, listen, last round, Zachary, wow, precision gunplay, so good on Jet, oh my goodness. This time around on the Cypher, just pulls out the Ares and just lets it rip. I mean, that's just a good way to play that Lotus A defense as well. A lot of wall bangable spots that a lot of people don't expect in your ranked games, so keep that in mind as well, but just an excellent little microplay there to shut things down. And once again, you kind of expect the Glazers to win that last round, given the fact that they were able to buy up. But Leet, they have been slacking a little bit. This time around, though, expect we'll see a little bit more rambunctious play. A triple push out from the Glazers on mid.
Oh, I like this. Fireball's ready and waiting, though. That Turk's gonna make first contact, sure, but what about the heads? Can they fall? The answer's no. Just a few too little pixels for Fireball. Aim too high. Everyone in those 3, though, they tuck tail and run. They disperse themselves. No reason to take a fight just yet. The C-side's looking pretty appetizing, Marks. The issue, though, is that not only do you have a Gecko holding the reins, waiting for someone to push in, but the belly of the beast is Zachary. All over side C. Something tells me I don't think they can push into it.
And this is something that we see pretty often from this offense coming out from Leet, where they put a lot of emphasis onto one side, but they like to just play down the clock a little bit more. As a result, they've got their 5-man push ready to go. The good thing about the Astra, can detonate the smokes anywhere. The trade is going to happen, and now they got to run it because the information is given. And run it they will do. Only the KO able to reposition up on top, but it might be a little bit too late. The spikes should be able to go down fairly easily.
Yeah, my question is, though, is anyone in the Glazers going to flank? Fireball's gone. No flank watch available. Precision, though, says flank. What flank? We don't need it. Some cards good for the trade. Still no map presence just yet for these attackers. They're slowly bringing their way in, but it's up to Riku to hold the lines, and hold lines no longer. Zachary's the last one left. The safeguard for A-site last round now has to push in with that same exact Ares. A meltdown nearly, but son of Carr, the third eye is awoken again.
7 HP left. Oh, I thought Zach had that. I mean, the timing.
It was a lineup. It should have been.
Like, that's just crazy. And on top of that, too, I think yeah, you're right. It was a lineup. But the fact is that it counts as wallbang bullets when it goes through your fellow squad mates. So it's not going to be the full damage coming through, which might have just allowed Son of Car to stay alive for a second longer. Great stuff coming in from Leet to be able to pull this one back, but now the playing field is nice and evened out with economy on both these sides. The one thing, though, is Zachary does have that neural theft available if an opportunity does present itself.
Yeah, watch this aggression outside of C, though. Drone is fighting tooth and nail to ensure that Kara cannot pick up that final orb. That leverage would be huge for Leet if they can just showstopper their way into C site. It was a big fight, but the disengagement is there.
Nice and slow right now, but the Glazers, they've made a rotation around to reinforce that A site, and, well, a lot of utility getting tossed out immediately to try and get that space. Once again, just as a reminder, Leet, they don't have any flashes coming into this round, or sorry, into this map. They just simply rely on using their mollies to zone out the other team to be able to take more space and kind of play in the unknown.
I mean, the attacking side for both of these teams is going to be a little wonky. We say that about flashes for Leet, but even on the Glazer side, you don't have your typical Viper that we normally see. Lurkability will be interesting when the sides swap, but look at Ange. This is the anti of lurking. Showstopper makes its way into C site, though. The lurk is there on the other side of B. Son of Car's there before the noble sacrifice, and B's the way to go. Yeah, sure, you have a tripwire. No big deal when it comes to Momji, but no one's around for the Glazers. They're waiting to play full retake.
Yeah, and they completely just kind of back off there. I actually like this because this means that Leet will have a time to get themselves organized. Oh, excellent first pick.
That's huge. Those flashes that we talked about before, half of which now gone, a single one for precision to use, now expelled. What do you do now? Visibility is the name of the game, and Pyro might have some advantage here by blocking off at least some of these defenders. Momiji uses it to their advantage. Gravity well out now. Good for the one. Make that two. Momiji again brings it to an even game.
And see, I'm not used to seeing that, how they played that post-plant positioning from Leet. That was more akin to their Breeze defense, where they spread themselves out on all of these different angles and then just kind of isolate these 1v1 opportunities and just kind of swing out at the same time to be able to try and catch some people off guard. And Leet, they do a masterclass with it. Son of Car at least able to get something with the showstopper this time. Didn't see much of that the last time they were on the race, so at least it was a trade onto Drone that time. But yeah, the Glazers, they're back onto a save yet again. Still have that neural theft, but not the most high impact ultimate out of the entire kit, Keg.
No, but if you want to watch out for flanks, that'll be a huge ultimate to have. A lot of lurkability. Zachary's good to shut things down, though, with those tripwires. But look at this from the Glazers. They have a small army outside of A, and they're not... they are ready to take those early fights on.
We found one.
A good prowler, sure. Information's gained. And kind of going back to what you said before, Marks, if there's a time to play around uncomfortability and trying new things on Lotus, this would be the qualifier to do it. Sky was dominant on this map since the very beginning, and now that she's been changed, you don't have those regenerable flashes anymore. So a lot of experimentation here means uncomfortability. Oh, Drone? The nade? Yeah, stop them in their tracks. Use the gravity well to your advantage, but no, the timing was not there. It was all a big fake. Drive them away, funnel them back to C. That's exactly what you want. However, Zachary doesn't have that Odin anymore. Him versus the world with only a single star off of his teammate to work with. It's a big way in, hiding away, giving up C site. The rest of Leet now, they found their comfortability and throwing mollies every which way. They know the firepower's in their favor. And Son of Car's aiming every which way he can, but blind through the smoke, Pyro falls. That's one smoke, drastically gone. Team comp difference though, never mind. I was gonna say you have another controller to rely on, but maybe not now. The spike just barely makes its way down. You have to rely on just Fireball. Remember again, starting off this round with nothing but Sheriffs, it's looking great for the Glazers. And Fireball tries to make heroics work, but no, not quite today. Off of a beautiful thrifty, Marks, it's the Glazers that take back that lead.
And it was such a chaotic round that we got to see coming in from there. But the Glazers, they kind of win that one out. And honestly, I think it is just Zach being able to shut down the plant first and then use the neural theft afterwards, because it made Leet second guess themselves for a second. And sure, you know, it is just a second, but that allows the Glazers enough opportunity to get themselves set up, and then as a result, they can push in together. When it comes into, you know, playing off the utility, playing the quote-unquote classic Valorant style, the Glazers have Elite beat. And as a result, wow, that rhymed. As a result of that one, it's a lot easier for them to just kind of go in there and clean out the site. So excellent job from the Glazers. Well, I do gotta say, Elite were doing a good job, at least at baiting out a lot of this utility early round before, you know, completely just backing off yet again, and then making a decision based on the information.
Oh, that flash. That's everything. That's a lot of audio cues now from Omiji to work with. Ult cycling's looking pretty good too for Elite. Many Witch members are just 1 or 2 points away from getting those ults. But there's kind of a catch-22, isn't there? You don't really want to use ults this round because the Glazers, they have nothing but post-plant ults to work with. Cosmic Divide, the Showstopper, Null Command, all of which could shut down a very small site like B.
Oh, Drone just waiting with the paint shells in hand.
He's ready. He knows.
Yeah, and I love this adaptation coming in from the Glazers. I mean, Elite expected them to push up. Elite expected them to take a lot of ground. But no, they just completely dig their heels in, and as a result, this defense is going to be ready for when the aggression actually comes through. Engagement underway.
Hunkering down, Nuclear Winter, the Glazers, making sure Seaside is unappetizable for Lear. Sorry, for Lear Elite. Got Lear on my mind for the next series. And let's see, big rotation back around again, parsing out B. Maybe not so much the choice, but remember that early Viper wall had come down. It's a conditioning wall. It's a great lurking wall too to make your way up to A site. But if you don't have any choice left, you have 15 seconds. You gotta go for what you have. Nightfall comes through. Precision, a last-minute Hail Mary gets 4 of them. But it's not gonna stop that spike from going down. Now it's that flood retake.
Null Command ready to go, exactly. And so this is gonna be a nice, easy retake coming in from the Glazers. Oh, Showstopper online.
That's huge. Showstopper removes Pyro. Momiji still has that controller utility, line of sight denial, but it's a 2-to-1 ratio. Momiji does have Viper's Pit available. The singular Phantom, though. Stinger up behind Momiji. You don't want to use it just yet. Drone holding the line, knows exactly where the last 2 should be. That's 1 body gone. Maybe make that 2. That's the drone diff right there.
Love to see that. I mean, that was just really smart play. Once again, when it comes to the utility game and playing a little bit, I mean, there's a reason why teams do these things. It's because they're extremely effective at generating a lot of space for you and really just isolating out your opponent so that they have to walk into your crosshairs, which was just an excellent little play there. I mean, even if Drone went down, didn't really matter. The other 2 were just on the side, ready to swing off of it because Wingman adds quite a bit of pressure because you don't need someone just stuck on the spike diffusing. So excellent job. The Glazers are starting to pick up the pace a little bit more here as we do see Elite forced back onto a little bit of a save.
No way.
Do have a Viper's Pit available, but Zach just misses that first shot.
I really thought Zachary was going to take down Pyro there through the smoke. I saw the vision, but I guess that was a different reality. But Zachary's in a tough spot right now. Sure, the Cyber Cage is open, the Nebulas go down, just denying that Ops line of sight. That Prowler doesn't spot him, but it may detect that tripwire. That's going to be a really tough shout, though, if you get overwhelmed with an operator.
Oh my god.
Oh, no. Okay.
The blink comes through. Precision still able to stay alive. Just barely. I think it's 2 HP left over.
Yeah.
But I like this from the Glazers. They're really just standing their ground right now.
Keep in mind, as a result, there's no lurks, Marks.
Yeah. There aren't that many lurks going on. This is just how Elite like to play it, and all the information given up, they're going to commit.
Oh, Riku. No! Riku! A bad case of the timings right there. The flash comes underway, but Son of Kar at least removed. Your entrant ability now from Lee is gone, and there's that lurk now from Momiji. Clearing that space towards A, which they will soon find out is an empty site will be gigantic. B-side, though, on the other hand, you may have to worry about that flank from behind, taking the door back over, though. Now you're leaving Momiji out to dry, and just behind, Yeji falls. Pyro's there for the trade, but now it's a big game of catch-up. Disenfranchisement everywhere from Lee. They have not all of their members together. That's going to make things a little bit more difficult post-plan. Okay, Zachary. No way. That is a practice timing shot right there. And Fireball has to recreate history, but guess what? The timer respects none.
Wow. Game-saving shot right there. And on top of that, too, I think that's a little bit of a momentum buster coming in. I mean, Riku, once again, like you said, just bad timing. It's just so good from the Glazers being able to be a little bit more dynamic on where they want to find their stuff. And Zach with just finger on the pulse, knows exactly where to shoot, has that operator ready to go, is able to find that kill. And now the Glazers, 5-2. Lee able to buy back up into this round. Dual ultimates on both sides.
Yeah, but the aggression right now from this Nebula off of drone precision there behind the scenes will be good. Boombot's gonna find a wealth of info. Pyro needs to preserve their life. They can't take this one and done. Pyro were the fall here. That's gonna get rid of a lot of late round utility.
Yeah, but also too, look at how this setup is for the defense. The Glazers, they're completely pushed out of C, have a lot of information on B as well, so they know that this is going to be an A-side hit. Only Zachary being the one anchoring things down is more or less guaranteeing that Lee should be able to take this site.
Keep in mind, Fireball's a KJ, not quite the Cypher. The flank util's good, but not great compared to him.
Here.
And surely you would think Viper's pick goes down here, but Momiji is so far behind playing the flank watch instead.
Oh, timing.
Oh, okay, it works out well. That's one remove, but Drone's still alive. Umiji, not quite aware that the race has crossed back over. Tries to get that help, needs to go for the trade. Not quite the case now, and the attackers one by one they fall. Now completely vacant A site, perfect for the defuse off of Riku. Mimiji's trying to survive, whatever he can do. Unlucky, really. All because of Drone just barely sneaking by off of the death of precision.
Yeah, and honestly, like those little moments where you get to see that one agent kind of sneak around, add up a little bit of pressure onto the back line, and you can tell that lead are just a little bit more panicked. I mean, it's not over yet at all. The Glazers doing an excellent job at playing more creatively with their defense, being able to push out of it, but making the most out of every single situation that they can. And now 6-2. Lee, if I'm you guys, I think you call a timeout here. You got the weapons here. You should be able to pull it together.
I completely agree. 4 rounds in, most of which diffuses. There is a little bit of difference in win conditions now, but you're running the same strats again. Early Viper Wall this time does mean more aggression. The turret does spot at least one, but Pyro won't be aware about how many are pushing through B main. Zachary has that op. If the timing's right, that could catch out Pyro, but no. Nebula comes up far too early. But guess what? A single alarm bot holding the flank watch. That could be good for 1, just like the turret was earlier. But 3 in the back lines? That's going to be so difficult to hold it down for just Pyro and Fireball. Good for at least 1, maybe make it 2. Fireball holding the crossfire off of tree. Oh, the tree door opens, and there it is. Son of Car rises again. But will that be enough, though? The answer seems to be yes. What should have been a solidified round now turns to a disaster for the Glazers. Maybe a timeout's not necessary just yet, Marks. Precision's the last one alive. 4 rounds strung together in a row may just be what it takes, but Bamiji falls. The ult falls. He can see everything now, but will it be enough? All he can see is at least 1 kill, but there's not enough time. 3 HP in a dream, a small little pivot should end the round, but no, Precision gets 1 for the ride home, but Fireball's there for the sacrifice himself.
Great stuff kind of coming in there from Lee. I mean, yeah, you know, you called it. They didn't need the timeout after all. Precision doing their best to try and secure the site there. But you can tell this time Lee were just expecting the entire massive flank going on there. You asked the question, will they be ready as they push through? And the answer was absolutely they're going to be ready. They had those angles locked down. And the gunfight happens completely off the site, which honestly I think plays to the favor of Leet a little bit more. If they're anticipating it, then they can come out on top. And now, look at this, an aggressive op right off the bat.
Yeah, it's the Riku Gecko op. Can I tell you a little secret, Marks?
Sure.
I'm also a Gecko opper in ranked.
Oh,
this is why I solo queue.
Ooh, friendship terminated.
Oh, I tried. But Riku's a special exception. Except for that shot, a special exception. But I mean, yesterday we saw Riku on KJ opping quite a bit, and it was phenomenal. But this time around, we haven't seen the shots connect just yet. Riku did buy enough time for Amps to push up, but right over on A site though, that wall emerging once again. The solo fight. Where's the follow up? And there it is. You get rid of some flashes. But Drone still remains hidden, making sure A-site's not viable anymore.
And And I love this play that the Glazers are going for nowadays, where basically they're just splitting themselves up. Oh, excellent shot. But the fact of the matter is that they spread themselves out and push up on 2 of the sites, more or less effectively funneling Lee into B side, or at least knowing that they will funnel there. Aggressive plays right there, but a trade happening.
Yeah, chaos zone right now. B site, again, not appetizable, not approachable whatsoever. The call is now, go away, go away, go away, hope for the best. But this Cosmic Divide, a blessing and a curse. Drone falls, but they don't know about Ange. Still stays alive, but Son of Car unable to do theatrics this time around. I gotta say, the Glazers are looking pretty good for this defense.
Yeah, and I feel like it's almost like Leet feel allergic to B-Site, maybe? Where that's the second time now that we've seen them take it very aggressively. You just move in there, you take the site, you could plant the spike, but instead they opt to go through spawn, and instead of going to C like last time, they go to A this time. And unfortunately for them, I mean, that's kind of what the Glazers wanted, because they've got themselves so spread out on the map, they've controlled all of these zones that they know every single move that Leet's gonna do.
Ooh, talk about B being a little tough to push into. Seems like a 4-stack outside of B might be a fast hit back over. Oh, maybe not. Son of Car is gone. Your momentum, your space creator's not there. So the pivot now has to be C site. Remember, Lotus was just changed, so that means it's a little bit more defender-sided than before. More corners for someone like Zachary to use. Hiding away, Ange! Pop goes the Weasel, out of nowhere emerges, uses the Cyber Cage from Zachary to sneak on by, takes a hidden angle. But the save round only saves so much, 2 bodies lost, and this is looking great for the Glazers.
Yeah, 100% it is. I mean, now one more round until we find ourselves into the next half. And I was expecting a little bit more from Leet's offense. I'm going to be honest with you. The last time I saw them play this, it looked so darn good. But this time around, they're only able to secure 3 rounds. They will have a Nightfall moving into this next round, but look at the ultimate bank keg for the Glazers.
This is tough. No matter what you do, if you're elite, it's going to be so hard to play the post plant. Everything that Glazers has right now is purposely designed for a moment like this. That Viper wall's open. Zachary has the read. A site was the most comfortable site that Leeds had so far on this attacking side. Why not for the final round? Set up all your util there. Early information's gained. The Odin is out. That might not matter, but no, Zachary still respects it. He has to watch 2 different angles now. Information's gained with that Cyber Cage, but guess what? Zachary can't hear. He's forced to disengage.
Honestly, I think that's the best case scenario. Keep Zach alive. You allow for this 5v5 retake to happen. Once again, a lot of ultimates still online. This should be the Glazers still in a very advantageous position.
Oh no, this is where the ults come out. The big circus. Which one will be first? The null command, Cosmic Divide? Choose your poison. Alright, there's at least one. The showstopper to begin. At least one's been removed. No neural theft into the round, but it might not matter. Ult after ult after ult. It is just fireworks everywhere we look. And divided out. No crossfire potential. Remains only one left alive now from Omiji. Forced to dash through that Cosmic Divide. We'll never see the light of day for the attacking side again.
Sometimes it's just a press queue to win. You know, you got so much in the bank. As long as you're playing a little bit more coordinated, as long as you're keeping on top of things, you're going to be fine. And that was exactly the case for the Glazers to find themselves now at this 9-3 half. It's looking pretty good, but as we swap over, let's see how this elite defense is going to be.
All right, I'm gonna tell you the sugar, spice, and everything nice at this defender comp, right? You have the Fade Seas, which will lock your players in, the Gravity Well, which will lock and suck your players in, and then you have Cars and Nades. A-Site's unapproachable early on, but here's the thing, right? That's the expectation. It's Elite setting up on C for the same trap style play. And if we get to see all those elements put together, this will be a very quick pistol.
I mean, it might be, but at the same time, you know, the Glazers just decide to run it down or something, and they just overwhelm with power. I can tell you one thing, the elite defense really likes to explore a little bit more aggressively, or at least it previously has. It looks like they're showing a lot of respect for the Glazers. This time, not feeling as confident in their gunplay, but oh, jeez, spawning Fireball out immediately.
I mean, Lee had to play this so carefully right now. If they mess up at all, we're looking at 10-3, and it's a lower by 11-3 for your qualification map. I don't blame Lee for dialing back a little bit more, but as we say that though, Spike does go down, but here's the thing, a 3-stack flank right off a pistol means that aggression still returns. Car? No awareness on Riku. The haunt misses them. No. 1, Riku, divide and conquer, has the dizzy. The blinds are out. That's a great plasma blind, but will it be enough? The answer's somewhat yes. Double swing is out, but Riku had done the damage. Zachary holding the fort right now. Brings it over. Beautiful work from Drone.
Last player standing.
What could be left? A 1v1. Son of Kar and Drone. Out with the old and in with the new. Drone's been around for the longest time, but Son of Kar, an emerging name. Pop goes the Weasel. Beautiful. And there's enough time to defuse and Elite stay in the match.
Oh, geez. Okay, that was really close. I was about to say, you said there was enough time, but I'm not too sure about that one, buddy. But it all works out. It's a little bit chaotic, but just down to the wire. And that's what we expect to see from this Elite defense a little bit more. I anticipate that they'll be giving up the sites a little bit more often, just allowing for that full retake to kind of go underway and rely on that style of play. Once again, when it comes down to it, it feels like that is their most practiced strategy, just retaking some of these sites. And so when they are on defense, you see them rely on that one just a little bit more. And that's why you see such aggressive stacks as we're seeing just out front of B as they decide to push forward a little bit, get a little bit cheeky and push into their space. But I'm going to be honest with you, I think the Glazers, they're expecting this now, Keg.
Yeah, they're expecting the 3-stack most of the time. The cat's having a field day on my microphone right now. Alarm bot. Pinged out. Fireball none the wiser yet. You cut noise.
Here.
It's not even a reset. There's no information on any other part of the map, but Fireball's already looking to disengage. Keep in mind, too, there is that 0 point. Fireball's backed away just to make sure their utility doesn't fall. And all grouped up together. The Glazers understand they have to deathball this if they want to get to double digits off of a blower buy.
Nice and slow, but Elite, they're all ready to go. This is such an aggressive hold up here.
But you know what they say, slow and steady wins the race. It's not slow anymore. Destruction everywhere. This is good. But it leaves it down to just Riku. Surprisingly, no operator in hand this time around. But guess what? A mini off the hand cannon. Thought at least could be one for the way home, but no.
Oh, I mean, listen, they buffed Astra's bonk, so it's good to see it get a little bit of use, you know, Keg? I don't see it get used that often.
That's fair. I gotta say, though, I really love... Do you remember way back in the day the Astra meta?
Oh, yeah, of course I do. So many stars all over the map.
It was always fun to see how slow Valor could be, because it really kind of like evolved the tacticalness. I think tactile is like when you touch something, but like the tacticalness of the game. And now we're kind of in like a really good even spot for the meta now, and we get to see people like Ange bring out those lurks, those rotates with the Astra util, and make it much more malleable than before. But still, that 3-stack that hasn't found its time to shine in the early rounds just yet.
I mean, it hasn't found it just quite yet, but listen, that's honestly just because the Glazers have been doing an excellent job at like keeping it on lock, just like that. Son of Kar immediately down right off the bat, and I admire the effort that we did see Elite go for there. But at the same time, they knew that they were going in with a little bit of a weapon disadvantage, and especially in some of those longer sight lines, you don't like. Sure, Son of Kar is a fantastic aimer, but you don't want to stack the cards against yourself, and that play just kind of feels like it is.
Oh, but this Viper Wall's interesting. Normally goes from B to A, but this is B to C. It's a divide. Drone cannot push this wall without taking a big risk, but the risk is well received. That turret should still be unknown. C-site is in the clear. No sign of any ultimates from any team just yet. There was that showstopper, but didn't find much. Wingman planned for safety. Hiding away, playing the back lines. This Viper Wall could now be a benefit for Elite.
And I love this respect that we're seeing the Glazers give Elite. They just don't even bother pushing into their space. They know how dangerous that could be, and so they completely just back off. Now Elite ready to push in.
Oh, Marks, but this bonus is still risky too. You don't want to squander this either, even though you now have the lower buy. 2 Buckies for the retake. A wall, the Nebulas. Every which way you look is going to be line of sight denial, not in your favor. The Fireball's there for safety. Good for at least one more, maybe. He got 2 earlier. And it leaves it down to just 1. Fireball needs to get this defuse. It's up to half, but Zachary says no. Double digits now, 3 rounds away from qualifying for VCO.
Oh, they're so close. I mean, you 100% know that the mental was probably feeling a little bit boomed on Icebox. I mean, sorry, not Icebox, but the last map, Breeze, because they were feeling so confident. That's the opposite of Icebox. Yeah, I know. It's literally a different climate zone. Crazy.
Well, what if Icebox is from the past and Breeze is just a melted down Icebox?
So you're telling me that they put time travel into Valorant?
I mean, maybe. There's alternate dimensions.
I think John Riot's going to have to talk to you about this one for leaking the scripts there, Keg.
I'm down for the more dumb conversation. I'm ready for it. Son of Car's also ready, too. We have the double mollies coming through, denying those style of plays that have that early aggression of A denied. The 3-stack is out once again, but I think you're right, Marks. This is full-on awareness from the Glazers. They took C last round. This flank spy cam was set up and ready. Zachary knows how many are on the other side, and Ange is hiding. Oh, this is like an actual war zone now, trying to huddle away. But Zachary losing their number 1, the number 2 falls. And look at this scale up too. You get site control, you have the plant down, but Drone is taking a lot of space to deny the rotates from A or B in the back lines. This has to be an all flank style play to return. Riku was spotted, but oh, it keeps on going. Yeah, it's a full-on deletion there. Good defuse though.
And that's what we expect from this retake coming in from Lee. I mean, you know, I said it a little bit earlier here, but they really rely on the retake potential. And sure, you know, it looks a little bit funky if you pay attention to the minimap, because they more or less force their opponents to swap sides with them, where they more or less push up like they're on the attack themselves. But then it kind of catches your opponent off guard, or at least it will catch your opponent off guard right now. As these rounds continue to progress, I imagine the Glazers are going to start to figure out that that is actually what Elite are trying to do round after round. And once they start to realize that, I do think that they should be able to countershot him pretty heavily. This next round is going to be a rough one. Only one Vandal being brought into the mix, while the rest of the squad more or less has to save, despite the fact, too, that they did use that Thrash and didn't get that much value. But regardless, Son of Car takes a high ground angle, and on top of that, too, has a showstopper ready to go.
But here's the thing, though. I'm the Glazers. I want my win condition this round to be everyone on lead to use those ultimates. Get rid of Son of Car's showstopper. Make Fireball use that lockdown. And if Momiji somehow magically gains that Viper's Pit, or even the Nightfall comes through, that means that we don't have to worry about it, possibly for the rest of the game. The drone falls. Riku soon to follow.
What?
Fireball is in the perfect spot right now, Marks, to use that lockdown.
And look at this, the 3-man flank already coming through. Oh, Fireball ready to go with the lockdown. This is going to be a rough one, but they're going to push out here, Keg.
Remember, only a single Vandal existed for the Glazers at the beginning of this round. Forced out with the lockdown, the Odin's there too. Bodies are lost, sure, but if you can remove guns now, that would be even bigger. Precision, almost good for another, but not quite. Sure, it's not a round win for the Glazers, but getting rid of one very impactful ultimate is gonna hurt Lee in the end for rounds to come.
I mean, it's one of those things, right, where it's... Okay, well, let's break down the defensive strategy for these retakes that we're seeing.
Give it to me, Professor Marks.
Specifically, oh man, Professor, I gotta go get my lab coat.
Yeah.
But on this C site, what we're seeing pretty consistently, and a timeout called by the Glazers, perfect.
Even more time.
Yes, but what we're seeing is a pretty quick flank always happen on the sites. And this is very characteristic every single time they're retaking it. We've seen it on A, we're seeing it on C right now. But the fact of the matter is, one of the pivotal players on Elite right now is Fireball. Fireball is doing such a fantastic job at anchoring one of these sites, making it so much more difficult that the Glazers, they don't just have to look backwards. Even though they can anticipate that this flank is going to be coming around, they have to be watching forwards as well, because Fireball might come out and might flank them. And I think that this is the strategy that they're employing on all of these sites. Sometimes it's Momiji, sometimes it's Fireball, but these two agents are always the ones who are kind of anchoring things down, while this 3-man flank down onto either of the sites is consistently happening for Lead.
I mean, we talked about ad nauseum, right? You have Son of Car, you have Yeji, and you have Pyro playing for that more aggressive trap-style plays, but Fireball and Momiji are those anchors. They have a very common Lotus comp that we've seen pretty much since release. Remember, Challengers last year, it was Rossi on Viper defending on this map. Really revolutionized the Odin strat, mowing down so many teams and essentially treating Viper like a Sentinel, just like Fireball's KJ.
And the fact, too, that you can just have that much reliance on those agents to do that job, like, it's so huge for Elite. And now this time, though, the Glazers are going to be walking up C yet again, as Zachary takes a little bit of a flank this time to put on middle pressure, but Cosmic Divide is going to get utilized pretty early on to at least make this entry a lot easier for them.
Oh, I like this setup, but I'm not sure about how I feel about that. Oh, there's a crossfire setup with that door that can be open for the post plant, but now that you have the Cosmic Divide, it's divided out. Spike going down. Dizzy finds nothing. This is is good. Cosmic Divide should soon end, and that just gave a beautiful enough time to allow Glazers to get that space in. Drone's gonna hide. Everyone's playing post plant. The door's open. Crossfire enabled. Drone. Good for one. Catching them off guard. The Odin falls. Never mind. No paper mache. Drone. The theatrics. The heroics. No, stop that. 3. It leaves it down to 2 defenders left, but they have to deal with the neural theft. There's that wall. The gravity well on top. Zachary's ready for the pounce, but can he do it in time? The answer is no. A roundabout angle from Omiji doesn't quite connect. And EG has to find at least one, maybe make that 2, not quite. 11-7, inches away from qualifying.
Oh, and I fully support the ultimate usage there coming in from the Glazers. First of all, Drone, cheeky as ever, but look at this. Even then, Amash gets thrown onto the spike too, just to add to the chaos here, because the Glazers know as long as they introduce this kind of craziness, that's when leads start to fall apart there. And on top of that too, I have to call it out, Son of Car used the showstopper, but actually canceled it, I don't think really firing the rocket off. And as a result, I mean, you don't get as much value as you want from that. And Drone, meanwhile, has another showstopper ready to go. 2 rounds away from qualifying.
Oh, no. Both showstoppers not seeing the light of day, I suppose. This is just a massacre. If you have a KJ anchoring one site and Viper on the other, why not take that B site control for the fight? But, lessons learned, I suppose, for both of these teams. The alarm bot's there, but there's no presence just yet. Zachary doesn't know that, though. Fireball's top heaven. A single nanoswarm to work with to stave off these attackers just a tiny bit. Buy some time for Momiji to rotate back over. Where's that nanoswarm going to go?
Fireball, this is so risky. Goes in onto the site trying to catch a timing onto precision, but loses their life now. Momiji in a 1v3. Glazers looking to get to 12.
Hidden. Cancelled with the rope. The drop not heard. Everyone focused on the flank. No chance for an ult. Has to get at least one. Ult needs to be enabled. Oh, that was risky. My life even flashed before my eyes. But it wasn't enough for Momiji. And now we come to the real test. Surely now we see a timeout from one side or another.
Surely. Maybe not.
No, there has to be. Even if I'm the Glazers, right? I would go for a tag timeout right now just to calm my nerves. Like, this is an important moment in your career as a player. And you're 1 round away. And it's not like you have that buffer room.
Yes, but at the same time, coming into this next round, you know, they've got the weapon advantage coming into this. They're probably feeling pretty confident about it now that they've been able to pick up these last couple of rounds. And look at this already, Riku watching with that operator. And Viper Spit has to get utilized on to C, which I think is actually the right way to go about this, given how often the Glazers have attacked here.
No command was out, but Gravity Well is still enabled. That gives a lot of valuable info for the Glazers to know that Astra wasn't nearby at the time. Now, it's a big swarm on C. All bait for A site, though.
Yeah, she gets the info, though. Does lose their life, and now this is going to guarantee the plant over here. Keep in mind, Thrash still available for Riku as well. And they're playing this safe. Fireball gets spotted out, but now look at this. They make sure that no flank potential can possibly happen for Leet.
That's going to be huge here. We've seen a lot of flanks for Leet so far. Son of Car, the Messiah, we've hyped him up so far, so many different places. Any social media. Has to bring it to the test now. Good for one, but traded out. Possibly the last time we see him in OQ1. A judge holding the 4 directly on site. Nobody's around. Cosmic Divide open. You won't be able to hear the other side. Precision goes for the flash. That's gigantic. A big swing, finding at least one. Can that be it? The answer is yes. The Glazers qualified for VCL.
And big congratulations to them. These players have been eyeing this league for so long, and it's wonderful to be able to see them finally stick the landing, and they will secure their spot into Challengers. Big congratulations to the Glazers.
I mean, we talked about this yesterday when we had seen the Glazers last play. They lost out on their first qualification match in the upper bracket. They brought it back in the lower bracket. But because that upper qualification match was so close, I think everyone kind of had an idea that the Glazers might be able to turn it around for day 3. But who knows? I mean, the Glazers have found so much impact, but now they have a whole season to get more and more sharpened up and show what they can really do.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Elite, They will be eliminated from this Open Qualifier, but they do have another opportunity. Another Open Qualifier is going to be happening a little bit in, I believe, a couple of weeks. And so they're not out of things yet. And man, big shout out to Elite. They have been looking good, changing up how you play so many of these maps. And it's been so entertaining to see it as they just confuzzle their opponents with their strats.
Now, does this mean that the Glazers are in VCL? Do we just make a bunch of donut jokes nonstop now?
I mean, maybe. It's just going to be, Frosted Cream for life.
Ooh, I gotta say, glazed donuts, not my favorite kind of donuts, but I will say I think I have to make an exception for these 5.
And take a look at this. I mean, obviously, when we were talking about the defense and highlighting how Elite were the ones who were playing, I told you what a high impact player Fireball was at just kind of being the anchor there. But at the same time, Drone woke up on this map and was doing such a good job on this raise to take so much ground, force so much positioning, and was getting so much value. Of course, that's not to take away from the rest of the team. Riku a little bit more quiet on this map, but I think that Gecko utility just is so worth it on its own, allowing to get the wingman to plant, have the thrash ready to go. It just looked so good utility-wise coming in from the Glazers. I mean,
look, Drone's journey in of himself has been a wild one since the beginning of this game, and I'm happy to see him returning back to the VCL. He has improved so much more, even over the past off-season, that it's just going to continue to get better. But I mean, we do have one more team that needs to qualify tonight. And look, the way things are shaping up for OQ2, if we want to head back into the future a little bit, it's going to be even spicier next time around.
Yeah, no, it 100% is going to be the case. So don't go anywhere. We're going to figure out who that last qualifier is going to be. But first, we're going to throw to a break while we get things set up on the back end. We'll see you just after this.
coming through with it again. They know that I got spirit with a pen. Don't know why they try to compete when they know that in victory it's never gonna end. Them man are weak, that's why they could never speak, they ain't like me.